सोच में सकारात्मकता लाएं, जीवन को बेहतर बनाएं। मनोदर्पण पर कॉल लगाएं, मनोबल अपना और बढ़ाएं। मनोदर्पण पर कॉल लगाएं, मनोबल अपना और बढ़ाएं। चलो आज ही प्रण ले हम, मानसिक स्वास्थ्य सुधारे हम। चलो आज ही प्रण ले हम, मानसिक स्वास्थ्य सुधारे हम। मनोदर्पण के काउंसलर से परामर्श पाने के लिए डायल करें टोल फ्री नंबर 844-844-0632। नंबर एक बार फिर सुने 844-844-0632।
Namaskar, I'm Shivani Jha and I welcome you all to our live and interactive session. You are watching this session on PM Evidya channel 6 to 12 and also on our official YouTube handle, that is NCERT official. Well, let me apprise you all for this half an hour. We have our special program on Sahyog. And yes, as you all know, these Sahyog and Paricharcha sessions are brought to you by Manodarpan and is a great initiative of Ministry of Education as a part of Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan for providing psychosocial support and mental well-being to all the teachers, parents and students across the country. Well, the topic that we have taken up today is really very important for you all. So, the topic for today is self-regulation, that is a crucial factor to sound mental health. Yes. Well, self-regulation is the ability to manage emotions, thoughts and behaviors in the face of stress. But how is it related to mental health? So, this is the main reason we have to find out, and we are going to explore all the key points for the same. And yes, to delve deeper into this entire topic, we are also joined by our esteemed experts. So, let me introduce to them first. Firstly, today we are joined by our expert, Dr. Rajesh Kumar Saha. Sir is Assistant Professor at RINCRT, Mysuru. Sir, namaskar and welcome to our session.
I am a professor, not assistant professor.
Okay, thank you, sir. And now we are also joined by our practicing counselor, Dr. Hita Claudia Rao. So, ma'am, namaskar and welcome to our session.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm happy to be in today's program.
Okay, thank you so much, ma'am. And dear all our viewers, let me also tell you, along with our experts, we are also joined by our sign language interpreter, Miss Vidhi. So, I also welcome you, Vidhi, to the session. And now, dear all our learners and our viewers, in case if you have any queries or any doubt or any feedback you want to share with us, you can directly contact us via phone or our email ID. Firstly, we have two phone numbers and it is 8800440559, and second phone number is of Manodarpan counselor. So, please note it down. It is 8448440632, and also we have our email ID which is sahyog.ncert@cit.nic.in. And yes, as you all know, this session of ours is live and interactive. So, you can also drop your comments, your queries or your feedbacks in the live chat box option. So, now we are starting our today's topic, and firstly I would like to ask my first question to Professor Saha. And sir, I would like to ask you, as our topic also suggests, the relation between self-regulation and mental health. So, I would like to ask you exactly what is mental health and what is self-regulation?
Thank you. This is really very important to discuss. First, focus on what is mental health and what is self-regulations. So, you all know that today we are talking about holistic development and the development of Panchakosha. Panchakosha, if you go through that national curriculum framework on which the teaching and learning process is going on, the Panchakosha is that our first Annamaya Kosh, Pranamaya Kosh, Manomaya Kosh, Vijnanmaya Kosh and our Anandamaya Kosh. So, and we don't differentiate mental health with other factors. It is a package, it is a comprehensive approach to our life, because our Annamaya Kosh, that is related to our physical body. So, Vivekananda told that sound mind in sound body. that is associated with our pranamaya course, which is our urja, the energy we have. And the manamaya course is related to our psychological variable, mind, emotions, and others. And Vijnanamaya course is our reflective thinking, intuitions. And at the last, it is our Anandamaya course, that is spiritual self. So this is our Indian concept. It is integrated. So if we want to have a sound mental health, we have to deal it in a comprehensive manner. It is not isolated mental health issues. If your physical body is not working well, it is going to affect your mental health. If you fail to inculcate positive energy, that is prana bayu, then it is also going to affect your mental health. If your psychological variables and other factors is not working properly, your manamaya course, it is going to affect your mental health. And most importantly, your creative and reflective thinking and your intuitions, all related with your Vijnanamaya course, which make you more efficient, and that is also related with your mental health. And at the end, it is our spiritual bliss, which is most important. So, who in a different way define mental health? Who said mental health is a state of mental well-being that allows individuals to cope with the stresses of life, realize their potential, work productively, and contribute to their community meaningfully. That means, in one way, we can summarize that if your mental health is very sound, then you are more productive, you are more efficient. If you lack efficiency, if you fail to produce anything which is marketable, service or product, which is not lucrative, then it is a reflection of your low mental health. So let's go to the second slide, then we will understand that what are the indicators of mentally healthy people. Who are mentally healthy? The mentally healthy people possesses resilience, have positive and supportive relationships, demonstrate emotional awareness and regulation, and maintain a sense of purpose and self-worth. They are generally optimistic, can adapt to changes, can manage stresses, and exhibit good skills in problem solving. So these are some of the basic things. That if the one thing I want to share first, the absence of mental disorder does not mean you have mental health. So mental health is very much associated with your efficiency, your dealing with your normal stresses of life, and your problem solving ability. So without sound mental health, we cannot be productive, we cannot live a happy, prosperous life. So now going to next slide, we can understand what is self-regulation. This is very important. So in single sentence, I say that self-regulation is the ability to channelize disruptive emotions to motivate oneself. So when you are low, when you are humiliated, when you are insulted, when there are disruptive emotions, how you are going to deal with that negative emotions? That is more important. Can you channelize your disruptive emotions to motivate yourself? That is a ability to manage one's actions, thoughts, and feelings in flexible ways to get a desired result. What does it mean? That when we are in disruptive mode, disruptive emotions, so we sometimes become more aggressive towards the source. Externally, it is called intrapunitive aggression. Sometimes we become aggressive to ourselves. That is intrapunitive aggressions. Both are destructive. So how we manage our frustrations in a positive way, how we sublimate anger to zeal, these are some of the skills which is very much associated with our mental health and our future. So later on I will discuss on that. For that, I in a nutshell, I want to say that what is mental health, what is self-regulation. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir. And I think you have very beautifully mentioned. And the thing which we got here is the relationship between self-regulation and mental health. And yes, these two terms are very important to know for all of us. And here, secondly, I would also like to ask my second question to Dr. Hita. And ma'am, I would like to ask you, why self-regulation is important during early years of life, and if we talk about the age of adolescence. So could you please elaborate this?
Yeah, well, definitely. Just now, as Professor Saha was saying, self-regulation is our brain's pause button. It helps us to manage our thoughts, emotions, and behaviors and to respond appropriately to situations of our day-to-day life. So it is this superpower that resides in each one of us. So it is a skill that is very crucial for our success, our happiness, and our overall well-being. And the early years of life, they are very crucial for the development of self-regulation, because it is between our birth and our early teen years that the foundations for self-regulation are actually laid. So these periods of life are biologically oriented periods for building those brain structures that make self-regulation possible. So we all know that our brain is the seat and center of all our mental activities, and our brain, it controls and coordinates all our thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. So it is our brain that plays a very important role in self-regulation. But when we are born, our brain is not born with the fully developed regulatory system. So the formative experiences of our life, they have a very huge impact on how our brain wires and fires to understand its thoughts, emotions, behaviors, and also how to regulate them. Now, there are three important regions of the brain that are implicated in self-regulation. So one is the amygdala. The amygdala is called as the reaction center of the brain because it is that alarm system which is very vigilant to dangers in the environment. And the amygdala usually mobilizes behaviors in act of self-preservation. And then we have the prefrontal cortex, which is the thinking center of our brain. So prefrontal cortex is like the wise leader. It handles all our planning, decision making, it controls our impulses. And then we have the limbic system. So the limbic system, basically it connects this amygdala and the prefrontal cortex and allows them to communicate with each other. So during the early years of life, we see that the amygdala is very strong and it is very active. But the prefrontal cortex and the limbic system, they are underdeveloped, and they continue to grow, mature, and develop throughout our childhood and into our adolescent years. So you see, the development of our self-regulatory systems, it coincides with the development of our brain and the experiences we have in life, which wire us either towards regulation or towards dysregulation. So to make this better, for us to understand this better, let's think about a child. Can you please change the slide? Let's think about a child. Next slide, please. A child who is probably crying, throwing tantrums, if the child is very upset. Maybe the child is hungry, the child probably is afraid, the child wants something. But then we see the child is still not mature enough to identify what is happening to itself, and it also cannot articulate its needs. Nor does the child have this capacity to initiate an action to soothe itself. So this is where the behavior of a responsible adult comes into play. See, self-regulation is basically our ability to process our thoughts, our emotions, and our behaviors. But this skill, it develops in interaction with others. So during the first few years of life, children actually learn to regulate their behaviors with the help of a parent or a teacher or a caregiver. And then over time, they gradually start using these regulatory tools more independently. So when a parent or a caregiver responds to an upset child with consistent calm, speaks to the child in a soothing voice, they encourage the child to speak up about what it is feeling, they reassure the child, then what happens in the brain? The brain that is bursting with emotions, it slowly begins to calm down. So it develops a sense of awareness. Now this entire process of an adult helping the child to regulate its thoughts, behaviors, and emotions is usually called as co-regulation. Whenever we talk about co-regulation, people think that the parent should always be with the child, they should fix everything for the child. Now co-regulation is not just about physical proximity, okay? It is more about an active involvement in creating a sense of safety and connection for the child. So the trick here is between providing the right kind of support and the space that the child requires to process its thoughts and emotions. So when co-regulation is provided, we see children learn to organize their experiences without feeling threatened. And this creates a neural pathway from the reactive amygdala to the developing prefrontal cortex. And it allows the child to realize that it does not always have to be chaotic to have its needs met or to gain the attention of others. And there are better ways of handling thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. So now instead of consoling the child, let's think that the parent or the teacher becomes very abusive, they ignore the child, they punish the child. Then what happens in the brain? The brain undergoes a very long lasting change in its structure, function, and connectivity. So the negative experiences of life, it pushes the brain into a survival mode, making self-regulatory very difficult. So such children not only have difficulties in regulating their behaviors, they also experience a lot of cognitive impairments and also difficulty with their social development, which can continue to their teen years and also their adult years. So what we see on the outside and we label as impulsivity, tantrum, or clumsy emotions in children or in adolescents, it is usually a direct reflection of what's happening inside their brain. And if we do not teach children or adolescents to identify their thoughts, emotions, and behaviors, and do not teach them to respond constructively to these emotions during the early years of life, then mastering these regulatory skills can become very challenging in the later years of life, leading to untold miseries.
Exactly.
So the early experiences of life, they are like the bricks that we lay on the neural highway that can regulate the child towards a lifetime of sound mental health or towards a lifetime of unhappiness. So I hope I've answered that question.
Okay, so very well said by you, Dr. Hita. And yes, during the early age, children needs the full support. So parents should need to take care of their support system, how they can take care of their children and their mental health as well. So dear viewers, as we all came to know here, like why self-regulation is the crucial part during the early years of the life. So now I would also like to ask my next question again to Professor Saha. And sir, I would like to ask you, like, how does self-regulation contribute to mental health?
Okay. So actually what happened, we are in a very tricky situation. 21st century is marked by the disconcerting pace change which is taking place, the change in disconcerting pace, and it is creating tension as reflected in different reports including UN's report. When the society is changing in disconcerting way, it creates tensions. For example, the AI, the machine learning, the algorithm, massive data computation, everything is changing everything. So now the machine is going to performing all the cognitively challenging tasks. So what is going to happen? So when we are in a tension, what type of tensions? Long-term consideration with short-term consideration. Tension between our ability to assimilate knowledge and extraordinary expansion of knowledge. And the tension between our material life and spiritual. Tension between global and local. So many tensions are there. So we are not in a very conducive environment. So when the environment is not conducive for different reasons, we have to understand how to keep our mental health intact. So self-regulation is an ability which helps you to face your challenge and solve problem in critical situations. So what is important, that the energy and emotions, negative emotions create enormous energy, but that the problem is that that energy is destructive. The frustrated people express their energy in a negative way, in a destructive way. But if I give an example of any successful man, for example, Yashasvi Jaiswal, the cricketer who just scored century today. Who is Yashasvi Jaiswal? He is a 10 years boy struggling in Mumbai without parents. He has to sell pani puri, work with the groundsman, so many insults, nobody is supporting him. But that negative situation, that frustrating situation, how he channelized that frustrating situation, he was able to channelize that frustrating situations, and that enormous energy which is inculcated because of that negative situations problem, he channelized that to motivate himself. That's why Yashasvi Jaiswal is playing for India.
Exactly.
Think about Sachin Tendulkar's son Arjun Tendulkar. in spite of getting all the support, he is struggling to take a place in Mumbai team or IPL team. That is the difference. I am not giving an example. For example, our Jasasri Pradhan Mantri, Narendra Modi ji, who is, so as a politician, you know, several critique is there. How he is addressed when other political party was there. But how he channelized all the frustrations, criticism to motivate himself. Now he is the one most popular prime minister, leader in the world.
Exactly,
Think about
sir.
Amitabh Bachchan. When Amitabh Bachchan tried to enter in cinema, he was 6 feet 3 inches and different looked person, and Rajesh Khanna was the superstar. He was utterly humiliated at the early stage, but he self-regulated all his frustrations and prove himself.
Exactly,
That is
sir.
very
And
important.
I think
So
we
when
can see
you
a
have
number of
self-regulatory
examples.
capacity,
Yes,
it
exactly.
enhances stress and emotional management, increased resilience and
Exactly.
coping ability, better relationships and social functioning, goal achievement and self-efficacy. These
Exactly.
are
There
very
are number
important
of
part.
examples
Understood?
behind us. We
So
can
this
see
is
that is literally related to the self-regulation and our mental health as well. And I must say you have given the best examples to all our viewers, which they can also relate. So, sir, here as we are left with a very limited time, so I would like to ask my last question for this session to Dr. Hita. And Dr. Hita, I would like to answer you within 2 or 3 minutes for the last question, that how self-regulation can be developed and the role of teachers and parents for the same.
Okay. 2 minutes is actually a less time to answer how these skills can be developed, but nevertheless, I'll give it a try.
Yes.
Self-regulation is actually not just one single skill, but it is a collection of many different skills where we are able to control our impulses, develop awareness, solve problems, make decisions, show the right kind of behaviors. And as I already said, parents and teachers, they play a very important role in helping youngsters develop these regulatory skills. And I think before parents and teachers can actually help children, they should first themselves learn how to regulate their thoughts, their emotions, and their behaviors. And probably self-regulation can be initially taught through what I told as co-regulation, and gradually we can move towards modeling these skills in children, where parents probably show how they follow these regulatory skills. They can talk about the struggles that they have and how they go through or they deal with these issues, and then we can move towards what we call as scaffolding, that is teachers and parents both provide a very conducive atmosphere for a child where they can safely practice these skills. And children can also be taught a lot of self-soothing behaviors like deep breathing, journaling, sensory play, positive talk, visualization, because these all help us to calm down whenever we are experiencing high stress or an outburst of emotions. And we can also include a lot of fun to do play where children are taught how to handle their emotions, wait for their turn, control their emotions. And we also have the stoplight method where we usually tell children how they can pause, think, and respond instead of acting impulsively. So the thing is, self-regulatory skills cannot be developed in one day, and there is no single way of developing these skills. So it needs consistent practice until it becomes a lifestyle.
Exactly. Thank you so much, Dr. Hita, for your kind words. And I think this is all about our today's topic and today's session. And still, if you have any queries, please reach out to us through comment box. So here, firstly, I would like to thank our experts for the same. So firstly, Dr. Rajesh Kumar Saha, who is professor at RI NCERT Mysuru. Sir, thank you once again for this wonderful session.
Thank you so much.
Okay, and next I would also like to thank practicing counselor Dr. Hita. Ma'am, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, and along with our experts, I would also like to thank our Indian Sign Language interpreter, Miss Vidhi. Thank you. And before I leave, here's a very important information for all of you. The new NCERT textbook for class 4th and 7th are now available on Amazon, Flipkart, and also on our NCERT official website. So please grab it on. And let me also tell you, within a while, you can watch our NIPA's program on channel number 6, 9, and 12. So once again, thank you and namaskar.